the problem is that it never ends, right? Like you never have it to where you shouldn't release another video, and there's always more work to do. So if I'm releasing one video a week on YouTube, probably should be releasing 2. Well, once you get to that point, you feel like you probably should be releasing 3. And then you get to 3 and then you realize, whoa, this is a lot of work. I can do this. But then you realize, wait a second, it never ends.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are. And if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. Before we start, just want to say once again, thank you so much for your support. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a review if you can. We really appreciate it. Any content suggestions that you might have, go ahead and leave it in the comments section on our YouTube channel. You can DM us at The Seasoned Marketer, or you can email us at chelsea@theseasonedmarketer.com or vivian@theseasonedmarketer.com.
Yeah, so we are so happy today. I think we have a very interesting topic, something that is going to help a lot of small business owners out there. And for one, it is related to marketing. So we're going to be talking about burnout. And I know for a lot of people, they're thinking, what's that got to do with marketing your small business? But the truth is, if you are a small business owner and you are doing all of your marketing in-house, or you are responsible for the marketing side of things, you're going to experience burnout. And the reason for that is because you are doing these micro habits. So every day you're thinking about, how can I create content that connects with people? How am I doing on social media? Are people, viewing my stuff? You're looking at the metrics. That requires a lot of upkeep. And so just on its own, if you're doing your marketing internally, you're going to experience burnout at some point.
We are so excited to have our very first special guest here with us to talk about burnout, Augie Johnston.
Yeah,
Yay!
Thanks for having me. Well, it's good to be the first guest. That's I guess, a little bit of an honor. Hopefully this episode does well, and then you guys will be hooked on only bringing on guests. So I'll do my best.
Yeah, so I think we don't ever want to pigeonhole people into labels or anything, but I do know you have quite a few, you're a YouTuber, you're a basketball coach, you're a family man, you own VidChops, which is your business. So tell us, not that there's any order to them, how does that all incorporate itself into who Augie Johnston is?
Yeah, I'll take it back a little bit and not spend too much time on this, but hopefully this kind of story will inspire somebody maybe to keep going or something like that if they're on their little entrepreneurial journey. Because mine started about 2009. I finished college and I played basketball in college and wanted to continue playing. So I played basketball in Europe. I played, I guess you could call it semi-professionally. And I was getting paid a very small paycheck. And I just thought to myself, I don't know how sustainable this will be for the next 10 years or however long. I want to keep playing for as long as I can. And so I did that Google search that a lot of people do, and it was how to make money online. And that's, everyone's done it at some point, maybe. And so I wanted to supplement my income and make money online so that I could continue playing and just kind of, when I was done playing, maybe have a business set up. So through that whole process, I fell in love with the whole idea of the laptop lifestyle, making passive income, all the kind of the hooks that hook you in. And so eventually I tried a million things. I did a lot of stuff. But, basketball was my passion. I eventually just kind of ran across a guide that directed me towards YouTube. I was already watching a ton of YouTube. And remember, this is 2009, the early days of YouTube. But I was living in Germany at the time, and all the TV was in German. So I couldn't really watch TV. So I watched YouTube, and it was pretty hard back then to watch hours of YouTube, but I found the creators that I liked, and I started getting interested in creating my own. And at the same time, it kind of meshed together. How do I make money online? I really like YouTube. I have a camera. I have a gym. So I started making basketball training tutorials way back then, and eventually kind of stopped doing that, and then realized that I wanted to do it the right way. And I kind of rebranded, relaunched my channel, and kind of started creating content more YouTube friendly. And this was probably around 2011 or 12, where I was actually like, hey guys, what's up? Augie Johnston here, kind of the YouTube style. And before that, I wasn't doing all that. And so my videos started to take off. I started to get traction, get views. And I built a whole background business behind that, where I sold products, digital products. Eventually I outsourced and created physical products. These are all basketball training products. And I did that for 4 or 5 years, did that for a long time. And then, we'll talk more about the burnout. I won't give it all away right now, but, I eventually pivoted and changed. And that's when I started working on VidChops, which is a video editing service for YouTubers. And I've been running that for about 5 or 6 years now. And I love marketing. I'm obsessed with marketing. It's kind of like my hidden passion besides basketball. And I also coach basketball. So yeah, that's my background.
Well, so what's interesting about that is, as a fellow YouTuber, because it's really weird, I started my YouTube channel in 2017, and I didn't really know where I was going with it. And like you said, eventually you figure out, you're like, oh, I have to have an introduction. I have to have an outro that guides them to like my website and to really amplify that. But what I love is the fact that you were first a YouTuber, and then you started to realize, hey, I can actually turn this into teaching other people how to do this. And you've entered like a different, it's still related, but you've taken what you learned throughout your journey, and then you've made a business out of that, because you're helping other people, really be able to edit their videos a lot quicker and get more information and content out there.
Yeah, totally. I think that's how it works in life, is like you do one thing and then that creates a new stepping stone. Then you step onto the next thing and then you do that, and that will create another stepping stone. And I think from what I'm seeing about life, I think that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. You were also a visionary and didn't even know it, because back in 2019?
2009.
That's
is when
what
I created my first YouTube video. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I shorted him a whole decade, Chelsea. Yeah. 2009, you were already thinking that YouTube was going to be a big deal. And the thing is, it's so wild to me, because I'm a YouTuber. And as far as not just putting videos up, but like I use YouTube. Like that's my, my Google. And for Chelsea, she's not as big into YouTube, but it's interesting that during COVID, everybody suddenly started watching way more YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah, totally. Views skyrocketed. And don't worry, Chelsea, by the end of this podcast, you'll be a YouTuber yourself.
Okay, if you can convince me, then we'll see. I'm too Gen Z. I don't have the attention span for it. I need TikTok where it's like 10 seconds.
Yeah, she actually
totally.
She'll learn. You'll get there. I'll give you 10 years, and then you'll be on YouTube all the time. Yeah. So Augie, I think really the one thing I'm curious about is you had. So as we said, we're talking burnout, and for any type of person that's watched a movie, they always have the trailer where it shows the main character at the very bottom. Right? Like the one pivotal moment in their life where they're figuring out, I have to get myself out of this hole. I have to figure this out because I just can't go on like this. What was that moment for you where obviously you were successful in what you were doing? Something had to happen to get you feeling like, this isn't for me anymore.
Yeah, I think for me it was, this whole time that I was creating videos for the basketball training channel, it was like 4 or 5 years. It was kind of a different situation. I was living in Europe for 9 months out of the year playing basketball. I would come home in the summer and batch record the whole year's worth of content. So I would record. Yeah, it actually wasn't that bad back then because of the fact that I was teaching basketball and I kind of just go off the top of the head. But yeah, so I would do it all in the summer, right? And then we would go back to Europe, what's now my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and we would live in Europe. We would release one a week, and it was a good cadence. And in the summer, neither of us were working. We were waking up pretty early, like 5 or 6 a.m., going to the gym when no one was there. And she was my camera woman, recording all the videos. So everything was pretty smooth. Like it was like a week of work, and then just throughout the year we were working as well. But when I finished playing, I was really excited because I was like, okay, I'm going to move back home. I'm going to kind of not have to live in Europe. I can record videos anytime I want with my wife. We're going to grow. This is going to be amazing. And so we got back, we were creating videos. I thought they were way better at that time. The algorithm on YouTube had kind of changed, and it was kind of wanting more long form content, like 10 minutes plus. And up to that point, my videos were all kind of shorter. They were more like 3-minute, 5-minute videos. So I was like, okay, I have to create 10-minute videos, and I was, but I wasn't getting the views. And this is kind of my piece of advice for everyone is like, if it's all about the views for you and that's the only thing you're focusing on, and you're refreshing the video, how many views, and you're refreshing the video, how many views, then that could definitely lead to burnout. And not to mention, I was releasing more videos. I was releasing longer videos. I was editing I was always been kind of a one-man band on that YouTube channel. So I was doing everything. And at that point too, I had the background or the back end business built up pretty well to where we had 11 products. Like I said, I was sourcing products from overseas. I was working pretty hard on the business, trying to grow it. And also had become a basketball trainer. I was done playing. I was a professional basketball trainer. I was running clinics, camps, training players. I was working pretty hard there too. So it was kind of at that moment where I wasn't getting the views. I was putting in more work, a lot more time. And kind of the straw that broke the camel's back was I lost my camera woman. My wife went, she got a job. So I was like, I basically took the easy way out, and I said, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to something new. I had the idea for VidChops for a long time, for years actually. And all those things just kind of lined up, and which created that burnout feeling, and me kind of saying like, okay, I'm going to make a change.
Even though we're sisters, we experience burnout differently, just like everybody else does, right? So for you, like you said, where most people would have thought, oh, it's having to record and having to do the whole process consistently. That's what's hard for them. For you, it was kind of, well, my wife's not going to be there, my girlfriend's not going to be there to help me. Then that means I'm really going to have to be doing all of this on my own without any type of help. So it's definitely interesting. And I understand being a one-man show, that's something that I think sometimes people are like, let's just go spend all this money on this big production crew. And then you're like, well, I feel like it gives you an intimacy with your business doing it, the entire process, right? From start to finish.
Yeah, I think you learn. I think that's the way everyone should start. You learn so much doing that. And then when it does come time to outsource or to hire somebody, at least you know if they're doing a good job, and you can train them if they need any kind of training. Yeah.
Well, and I have watched a video of yours. You were talking about the YouTube journey in general, and it was interesting. I feel like it's come full circle because, like, were you saying the algorithm at that point was saying, hey, your short videos are doing great, but now we want long form videos. And now they've released Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and now that YouTube algorithm is back to the short form content. But I noticed you were talking on that particular video just about how some people present a very polished look. So it's always in the same setting. They don't really let their hair down and get to, for people to experience them in a different light, a more approachable way. And you were saying like, hey, take the camera and just kind of, start filming or recording. So do you kind of feel like it's come full circle on that end where you probably could have made a whole lot more content?
Yeah, I mean, the shorts thing is a whole new kind of ball game that YouTube's kind of competing in right now. And I think they're still trying to figure it out. But I think if shorts were around back then, that I think it could have helped a lot because of my videos were rectangle, widescreen videos that we could have turned into shorts and could have done well. But really still the game is long form content on YouTube. I mean, the shorts, the way that I teach it is like shorts is more like brand awareness. Like if you want people to see your face and see your brand, then create a bunch of shorts. But the problem with shorts is they're not going to make a lot of sales for you. And the long form videos are more like a direct sales mechanism, right? Somebody watches all the way through. You can tell them, click the link. There's an end card on the video with a link that you can click and go directly to your website to make money. You can put a link in the description. You can put a link in the first comment. You can literally in your video tell them to go to the URL, ballerbootcamp.com. So the long form for me is like direct marketing, and that's the role it plays. And also that, you can get ad revenue with the long form content. The short form, they still haven't figured out how to give you any good ad revenue. Yeah, it's so low. I mean, the ad revenue is like $1 for 1 million views or something like that. It's pretty low. But yeah.
It's interesting you say that because we actually, Chelsea and I just wrapped up, we're putting our first course out there, and It's about doing events. So how to set up a display table, pick the right events for you and all that. And the reason we selected that particular topic was because our long form video on the Seasoned Marketer on YouTube, that is the 3rd highest video watch that we have on there. But like you're saying, the thing is, it gives you so much information. Like we funnel them to a mailing list and email list. And we've gotten so many people on it just from that one video. So definitely great advice that you're giving right there from a marketing perspective.
Yeah. And for me, like I said earlier, like I started creating YouTube videos for my basketball channel. Then I stopped. And then I came back with a more YouTube friendly style and stuff. And when I did come back too, I made sure that every video was its own, essentially salesperson for me, to where I had the calls to action to click the link in the description, to join the email list. And through that, I was able to build a really large email list. And that's basically how I was selling all of my products, was just through email marketing. So there is value in that. And even today, I don't get very many views at all on that channel. It's pretty dead, but we still do get, 10 to 20 new email subscribers every week, just because those videos are still getting views.
Chelsea, I know when we were talking about burnout, you have a pretty personal story too on how you kind of got to where you're at with burnout. And it's, I mean, you didn't lose your cameraman like Augie did. But...
No. So before I joined the Seasoned Marketer here with Vivian, I was actually a marketing director at an allergy practice, a private allergy practice. I was a one-woman show, the entire marketing department, and it really got difficult. It was not a great environment for me. First, it manifested as an anxiety diagnosis. So I was diagnosed with anxiety. I was having really bad panic attacks. I just felt like I wasn't doing a good job. And I know that I am good at my job. I love marketing. And I had developed imposter syndrome, thinking that I couldn't do it, just because the pressure of having to handle all of these things every day for that practice was too much. And I had to take a step back and say, what's best for my mental health? Is it staying in this job, or is it trying to do something new? And I know you and I had started discussing maybe taking the Seasoned Marketer a little bit further. And while this was a little bit of a riskier take for, a career, I just couldn't be in that corporate setting anymore.
I will say something to Chelsea's point there as far as burnout. It's very common because of the fact that so many people are solopreneurs doing it themselves. And you'll hear a common term called YouTube burnout. And I think it could come with any job really, but the problem is that it never ends, right? Like you never have it to where you shouldn't release another video, and there's always more work to do. So if I'm releasing one video a week on YouTube, probably should be releasing 2. Well, once you get to that point, you feel like you probably should be releasing 3. And then you get to 3 and then you realize, whoa, this is a lot of work. I can do this. But then you realize, wait a second, it never ends. I have to do this for the next 10 years. I don't know if I can do that. And that's where I think people start getting in their own head and start getting that burnout.
Yeah. And I do think I certainly, you had said something earlier about if it's all about the views, then it's a very slippery slope. And I think that's exactly what it is. And it's so weird because never in my life, I've been doing marketing for a long, long time. And when I came out of college, I started working at the local Chamber of Commerce. So I've been dealing with small businesses for a long time. This is the first time ever that I can really remember in the last like 4 to 5 years that people always talk about views, and they act like it's money in the bank. Right. So like they act like their Instagram following is somehow, paying them. And to some extent, they could be incentivizing people. But I feel like social media has done this weird thing where they're giving people this false sense of like clout or of where their business actually is. And like you're saying, unless you have a funnel or some type of mechanism to convert them from follower into an actual customer, it doesn't matter if your Instagram following is 50,000 if, less than 1% of that is actually buying your product or service.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, a lot of people, when they do get the fame or they get the views, they look to start, how do I get sponsors or how do I do brand deals and stuff like that? Or, where's my ad revenue coming from? But that's not, I mean, you can make a good career and a lot of money doing that. I'm not going to lie, but that's like saying like, I want to go to the NBA. It's like, if that's kind of your plans, like I'm going to live off AdSense and brand deals, that's like saying I'm going to go to the NBA. Like it's a lot less people actually make it. But if you say, hey, I'm, have a whatever, let's say I have a beauty salon and I'm going to start doing beauty tutorials and I'm going to come out with a product, and you kind of get your product and get all that lined up. Then when you create that first video, it does become a full-time sales representative for your business, and people will be, as long as it's getting views, people will be getting clicks, and you'll make sales. But first you have to have that business part set up, and then you can start looking at views, because views do turn into traffic. Like they do matter. But those vanity metrics, can only take you so far.
Yeah. So what do you say to a small business owner that maybe is kind of like what you felt during your journey? Is you're thinking, you've identified, I have to pivot. I have to do something, like this no longer is serving me in the way that I thought it would. So what do you say to a small business owner that knows they have to make a change? What's the first step that they can take? Because it feels overwhelming.
Yeah, for me, it's like all about figuring out like what gives me energy. Like what do I get excited about? And that's kind of the direction you should probably head in. And it's just like someone asked me the other day, like, why aren't you creating more YouTube content? I see you going on podcasts and you have your own podcast. You're creating a lot of podcast content. Why? Why not on YouTube? You preach it all the time. And I'm like, well, to be honest, like podcasts give me energy. Like I like talking to people. There's like a little bit of a social aspect there, connecting with people. And, at this point, with sitting in my room or my office and talking to a camera and making a YouTube video, I have a block. I still have like this little block over it. And so that's my answer is go towards what gives you energy. And hopefully that'll be the next stepping stone for you to find success in whatever you're doing.
So I do have a question off of that, because you said you like that social aspect, because it is pretty hard being a solopreneur. And when you're not out networking as much like you would, or going into an office and people are stopping by to have a little 10-minute chat with you about something. But do you also still continue to do your basketball coaching?
Yeah, so I do coach basketball. I'm the varsity basketball coach here in my hometown. So it's really fun. It's nice to be able to kind of be your own boss and kind of make my own schedule as far as VidChops and work goes, and then be able to coach as kind of like my getaway to go and have fun. And so, yeah, I still do that. I don't do the whole Baller Bootcamp YouTube channel in that business anymore. Although every now and then we'll get some sales popping up and stuff just organically. But yeah, I mean, before I kind of changed trajectories, I was on the path of being like a basketball trainer as my career. I was traveling to other countries even and running camps and other states, running clinics, training players, all that kind of stuff. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. But at the same time, a lot of things changed, had kids, all that kind of stuff. So once all that happened, I didn't want to kind of be on the road and doing all that kind of stuff. So I think life is better for me now.
I did notice you have two little boys, don't you?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so were they born at the time when you were kind of going through this pivot, or was this before them?
No, this was before them. Yeah, I definitely made the pivot before them, but just as of recently, my oldest is 3 years old. So, once I had kids, I realized like, yeah, I'm not going to be, traveling
everywhere.
Yeah, traveling. Like I want to spend my time here.
Yeah, well, that's great. And I'm sure your wife, since she retired from being your cameraman, what is she taking care of the babies and doing all that? Or
yeah, she works part-time as a third grade teacher. So she was a teacher for a little bit. That's when I first lost her as my cameraman. She became a teacher, and then she recently, I guess, when my first son was born, just went part-time doing that and takes care of the kids and stuff. Yeah.
I feel like that's God's work right there. I have a friend who's an elementary school librarian, and it cracks me up. Like, she's like, you would not believe the way I get these books back. It's got juice all over them. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't understand that life. I don't have children, so it's kind of all new to me. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you have a list of emails that you have collected from past buyers that is just sitting there getting dusty?
Are you looking for a way to build a long-term relationship with people so that your small business will stay top of mind for them? Want to increase your repeat sales? For every dollar spent on email marketing, businesses receive an average of a $42 return on their investment. And with an ROI like that, can you really afford to continue to let that email list sit there and just collect dust? Joining our Nothing But Emails monthly membership program means that you can sit back and reap the rewards of sending out monthly or bi-monthly communication while we craft the email and send it out on your behalf.
For less than $100 a month, you can capitalize on this. Start today by visiting www.theseasonmarketer.com/services.
So why are we talking about this to begin with? We know as a small business owner, you're not going to want to hear this, but burnout can affect your bottom line. If you're not taking care of yourself, then it's going to impact your small business and your personal life. And you know what? Even if it doesn't impact your small business, your personal life matters, and how you are mentally matters and should be your first priority. So you want to have a happy and healthy life, and you also want your small business to flourish. So burnout is something that you really need to consider and look at and say, hey, where am I burning out? What is causing this? Do I need to pivot? And what changes do I need to make? So for Augie, when did you know, hey, I need to pivot? And what changes do I need to make? And how did you make that decision?
Yeah, it basically, once I realized that I wasn't getting the views and I wasn't going to grow, I just made the decision like, hey, I need to try something else, because I'd been wanting to try something else. It's shiny object syndrome, right? Like everyone has it where you want to try this and you want to try that. But for me, I didn't. I was focused on this one thing for 4 or 5 years. And that's why I probably did have success. I mean, I'm not a big famous YouTuber or anything, right? I grew it to 200,000 subscribers. We got like maybe 20 million views, but it was a full-time income that I made. And to answer your question, it was like, once I found myself sitting on the computer, just doing mindless work that I didn't want to do and wasting time on the computer, it's when I totally realized like I need to try something different, and I need to actually pursue one of these ideas that I never have tried for over the 4 or 5 years when I stayed ultra focused. And it was kind of like, okay, now's the time where I can accept the shiny object syndrome, basically.
Yeah, so it's really interesting too, because I feel like a lot of times people are so afraid to experiment. And that's really where, you have to give yourself permission to say, hey, if I want to try this, or I've had this idea, because like you said, you had that idea for a while for VidChops, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so explain to us, because now with VidChops, you are actually doing that as a service for other small business owners. So let's say they're like, look, I love creating content and putting stuff out there. I do not like sitting in front of the computer and having to figure out how to use the software to chop up the video into 3 different videos that I could use online, right? What does VidChops do for the customer?
Yeah. So when I was a video creator, for the basketball stuff, like I said, my release schedule wasn't that crazy. It was 1 video a week. although I did get frustrated every time I had to go and edit it. I also had online courses and stuff like that had tons of videos. So I was doing a lot of editing in the end. Like an online course would be 50 videos or something in this basketball world. So I was doing so much editing. I was like, I want to solve this pain point for YouTubers. And that's normally how most businesses are started, right? You kind of like feel the pain yourself, and then you think somebody should solve this. I looked around. There really wasn't too many options as far as, there was some stuff out there, but not how we do it, where it's like a productized service where you get a video editor assigned to you, and they're going to edit all your content for you. So it's been a up and down journey for sure. We started off with a website and a type form for people to fill out, which is just like a form to ask them about their video. And now we have an actual app that we've created that allows people just to log in, create a project. We edit the video for them, send it back to them. They get that project back to them. They open it. It has a video review tool on there that allows you to leave timestamp comments, all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I basically solved my own pain point. And then eventually at this point, now we kind of have this machine that allows you to, like I just said, log in, submit a project, and then in 2 days back, get a fully edited video.
That sounds like Chelsea's dream come true right there.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. She's always editing our reels and stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, I will say, so it seems like the key takeaways here that you're talking about for like burnout is, for one, understanding when you have to pivot, right? And being able to kind of go or travel towards something that gives you energy and that you enjoy doing. And then also being able to experiment. So if you are interested and curious about something, allowing yourself to actually go do the homework and see if that idea has legs, and then just kind of move forward from there.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the major key. And if you are starting to feel burnout in your company, then how can you outsource the stuff that's making you burn out? I mean, I feel like if I would have had VidChops back then and just been like, okay, I'm just going to hire VidChops, then maybe things would have been different for me now. Maybe I would still be doing that. So what is bothering you about your business, and can you delegate that? And if you can, then you can focus on things that you enjoy doing more often.
It's really interesting. I have a full-time job on top of this, which is why Chelsea came on board, because then we could actually get a lot more stuff done. But what's interesting is, in my day job, I'm an executive director of marketing. And that is the one thing I always ask myself is, for what I'm getting paid, is this, and I don't ever want to say, is this below me, but can I pay somebody else to do this who is more knowledgeable about it, can get it done a lot quicker, and really has the resources, instead of something where, we may not have the resources to do it internally as much as I want to keep it in the house. Am I going to go out and get a whole studio set up and all that? No, it would just make more sense for me to go and, hire someone to help us put video content together or something like that. So it's really, I think it's something that you definitely are right about. Sometimes you can kind of dig yourself your own hole if you're trying to do everything, be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so many solopreneurs can definitely relate to that. And people just working a day job too. I mean, there's always things that you want to make sure that you're not wasting your time doing if there's better things you can do.
Well, Augie, it was really great talking to you today. Where can people find you if they're looking for video editing services, or they just want to connect with you?
Yeah, so video editing service, that would be vidchops.com. And then if you want to connect with me, I've started a kind of a personal brand Instagram account lately. So you can connect with me there. It's at Augie Johnston, and feel free to shoot me a DM or just kind of check out some of the content I'm putting out there.
Absolutely. Well, we are so thankful of your time, and also for being our first guest ever. And we hope that maybe here in, maybe another 6 months to a year, we can have you back on and you can tell us how much we've improved.
Hey, that'd be great. Thank you so much for having me. It was a good opportunity, and thanks. It was nice to meet you guys as well.
Likewise. Thank you.
It was nice to meet you.